Today is Sunday, October 11th, 2020, and today I'm thinking about signs in the heavens. Ezekiel chapter 32, verse 7. And when I shall put thee out, I will cover the heaven, and make the stars thereof dark. I will cover the sun with a cloud, and the moon shall not give her light. And this is just a common theme in the Bible of there being signs in the heavens. And when Jesus was born, there was a sign in the heavens. And Genesis tells us that the stars are up there to show us the signs and the seasons. Now, that doesn't mean that you should be an astrologer and assigning all sorts of your own interpretations to these things. We definitely shouldn't do that. But the Bible does make it pretty clear that the heavens are there to be showing us signs. And the whole NASA outer space programming is to get you to believe a fantasy about the truth, which is right in front of us. And the NASA outer space fantasy makes people believe that it's all just random and none of it matters, when in fact, the heavens are really, really important and they're there to show us signs. And so here I'll just talk very briefly about the things that I've been noticing recently. I've mentioned it a few times now. I really do think that the firmament is lower down. And I don't know exactly how to explain that, but maybe that has something to do with people say that the moon and the sun look bigger than they used to be. Maybe it also is making them brighter, just that everything is closer to us. And people have noticed that clouds look a lot closer to us. I suppose that would happen if the firmament came down. I don't know exactly, but it's something that I've heard a lot of people say, that the clouds look a lot closer. It doesn't help that they spray very low with drones, but so we have that. I thought there were some more. Oh, another one. Have you noticed the Big Dipper takes up an enormous amount of the sky? And I've heard other people say this too. I don't think that the Big Dipper used to take up that much of the sky. It really is like everything is closer to us. Another thing about the stars, it really does seem like we only see the brightest stars now. Maybe if you go way out into the middle of nowhere, you'll still be able to see tons of stars. But for me personally, I live in a whatever medium-sized city. Nothing crazy, but I I'm pretty sure I used to be able to see a lot more stars just with my eyes when I go outside, but nowadays it's like you only see the major ones. And I think that's a little different. So that's mostly the signs, except for the obvious ones, like the moon still shines so brightly. It's just crazy. Every time I look at the moon, I'm amazed at how bright it is. And you see it during the day all the time now. And I guess just one other thing is that time moving more quickly is related to signs in the heavens, because time is breaking down that day night cycle into smaller chunks. So when the day night cycle starts going faster and faster, somebody's compared it to like water going down a drain, and who knows. But yeah, the sun and moon, I think that they just complete their circuits faster and faster. So that's what time moving more quickly is. It's not like a sci-fi thing, I don't think. It's it's just that the sun and moon go around more quickly, and that's it. I think that's the answer to time moving more quickly. 24 hours isn't what it used to be. So there's this community on Reddit, and it seems all right. There's a lot of people that notice the signs in the heavens, and I love that. Now, a lot of them are stuck in sci-fi fantasy land, but what you can always do is you can point out, hey, this is biblical. Hey, this is biblical. Because a big thing that wakes people up to how the Bible is true is that they have these revelations about, oh, I know that it didn't used to be like this. And then you can show them scripture that's telling them, hey, there's going to be this change. And it really does bring people to the Bible. I mean, if I don't think that all of us would have come to the same conclusion if we weren't seeing the truths there. So I think that's just really important. People that are really close, but they might be stuck in sci-fi fantasy land, give them a nudge over to the Bible. Hey, the Bible has always talked about this stuff. Hey, maybe the biblical explanation of where we are, Genesis, makes more sense than what they taught you in school with all the CGI and all the cartoons. So I'm not going to read all this stuff, but you can pause it and read it if you want to. I just want to go through some of the things that people are noticing. So just with this, people have noticed all sorts of things with the moon. So I don't know. This person, I think that that person was just getting confused about time. I guess I can explain it really quickly. This person was like, the moon was just a sliver, and then a week later it was half full. But I mean, that is actually how the phases of the moon work. And it's just that time is so much shorter that we're not used to watching the phases of the moon happen so quickly. It's just like, I remember when being young, you couldn't just like stand outside and watch the moon and watch it move through the sky. But nowadays, you could just stand outside and look at the moon and it's like flying by you. Here, I picked these because look at people talking about being lower. And that's a good point, but I didn't used to watch the heavens nearly as well as I do now. But I do kind of agree with them that it seems like the sun and the moon both stay pretty low. And maybe that also is connected to the firmament being lower. I guess you would kind of assume that if the firmament was moving lower, you would assume that the sun and moon would be closer to the center of the earth. So if you live in the north, the sun and the moon would never get as high as they used to get in the sky. So people were noticing that. And here, I picked this because this is somebody who knows the truth right here. In the winter, the full moon will be much higher than in the summer. This person knows the truth that the moon is cold. Because in NASA Outer Space Fantasyland, there's no reason for the moon being higher in the sky in the winter and lower in the sky in the summer, because the moon has nothing to do with weather on Earth, if you believe the NASA lies. But the truth is that the moon is cold. The sun is hot, and the moon is cold, fire and ice. And that's why in the winter, the moon is out a lot more, and it's higher in the sky. And the seasons are caused by this balance of sun and moon. It's probably why people are obsessed with the yin yang stuff. The black one represents the moon. You know, it's the white dot in the black thing. It's the moon in the darkness. And you got the white dot and you got the black dot in the white section. I don't know. Maybe that's a reference to the black sun. I don't know exactly what that is, but maybe you get what I'm getting at. The moon is full of MEs. So that's the thing about this community. They're still stuck in this Mandela effect thing, which is more like sci-fi. Some say it's a projection on the dome. Yes, I 100% believe. You know, the moon's a hologram. They're making fun of the fact that that's the truth. It's the same way about how if you speak truth out in the wild, people will come out of the woodworks and be, "Oh, so you believe the earth is flat too?" And it's like, yeah, the earth is flat. Same thing with people will come out of the woodwork. Oh, and the moon's a hologram. Yeah, the moon is a hologram. It's like looking through a microscope or looking through a pair of binoculars. Those are holograms too. They're projections. This was just a really interesting side topic, so I'm not going to read it, but you can pause it and read it if you want. I just thought this was interesting when I was reading this community. People get crowded around you, especially when you really don't want it. Just people noticing that you can show up to a place. This person was talking about a laundromat. You can you can see a laundromat that looks empty for like months, and then you go there on a whim one day just because your laundry machine breaks or something, and at first nobody's there, and you're like putting your stuff in the dryer, and then 5 minutes later the place is just completely crowded and you're like, where did these people come from? Just an interesting phenomenon. Unfortunately, I don't have all the time in the world today to just talk about this stuff, so you'll have to just pause it and leave a comment if you're interested in this side topic of going to a place that's empty and then all of a sudden you're surrounded by people. This person talks about, oh, their husband doesn't even believe in conspiracy stuff, but their husband totally notices that people can appear out of nowhere and make it really crowded all of a sudden. Okay, back to the signs in the heavens. Just people noticing that the sun used to be yellow. Yeah, when we were young, the sun was yellow. You could look directly at it and it didn't blind you. And it's just a change. The sun is brighter and the moon is also brighter. This was kind of interesting. My joke about our Mandela effect being like a Christianity subreddit was actually on the money. So just to give you some background, the subreddit for Mandela effect is pretty well known for being full of people that are just a bunch of naysayers. No, you're just dumb, and it's always been like that. And so this person is making the comparison. Here, I'll just read it. I've always joked that the constant shills and skeptics on Mandela effect would be like atheists trolling a Christianity subreddit. Well, I joke you not. Christianity is overrun with atheist trolls who actually have atheist flares next to their names. They do nothing but cause trouble, just like many of their counterparts on Mandela Effect. So yeah, and notice how the atheists, they flock to the Christianity subreddit. Do you think that they flock to the Islam subreddit or the Buddhism subreddit? People who claim to be anti-religion, they're almost always, like 99.99999% of the time, attacking Christianity and Jesus Christ. So that should tell you something. Why would everybody be attacking this one thing and then leaving all the other ones alone? Just think about it. This was someone describing the four looks of the modern sun. We got white sun, we got blob sun. I hear people in comments talking about blob sun. We got cloud sun. A very big mess covered by clouds. Yeah, it did not used to happen. I think that this is what the 5G, this is what the bigs, what they call our cell phone towers. I think that they use those to put these messy clouds in front of the sun. I live in Washington State and the sun seems like it's yellow again. So here, I'm just going to put my own tinfoil conspiracy about the fires, because this is the reason the sun is yellow is because all the fires that we've been having. There's tons of particulate in the air. I think that they had to manufacture fall. I think that the seasons are all screwed up because the sun and the moon are so bright. So I think that on the West Coast, they had to use these fires to trick everything into thinking that it's fall time. That's my opinion. Fall this year came really, really early compared to last year, and it seems very unnatural. The weather was out of control this summer. We barely got any sunny days where I live. People notice the time thing. One thing that a lot of people said about the moon is people noticing that the phases are screwy. But this person was just misinformed, because the moon does go from a sliver to half full in a week. It's just that time is moving so quickly that it seems way too fast to us now. Because the whole moon cycle takes a month. That's the whole idea. So if you break down the math, that is how it works. Look at this though, Calamity the Hag. I live in the UK and practice a lot of moon-related witchcraft. These people are real. They all surround you. If you go to Amazon and you type in spell candle, you'll see that tons of people are practicing witches today. And they take it very seriously. I've known a lot of people that whenever it's a full moon, they go crazy, they howl at the moon, and it's because they know the secrets that NASA is fake. And so, but they just embrace the dark side. They know that NASA land is fake. So they have this hidden knowledge that increases their faith power, you might say, into the mystical, but they don't do it the right way. They don't go through Jesus Christ. They take their hidden knowledge and they do this pagan stuff with it. This was an interesting story. Last month I saw a really pretty crescent blood moon close to the horizon. I even called my mom for her to see it. Then just some minutes later I looked at the sky again and the moon was full and her normal white in a totally different place in the sky. I saw just the most giant moon on the horizon. I think that it's obvious now, if you live in a place where you can watch moon rise, you will just be amazed how big that thing is on the horizon these days. I don't think it used to be like that. Does the moon look much larger and closer? And this is in the media too. There's a whole Zelda game about the moon crashing. Of course, it's a NASA outer space ball moon, and that's not how it really works. But the whole point of the game is that the moon is coming and crashing into Earth, getting closer. As a kid in the 70s, I distinctly remember it looking so small and distant. Yeah, the moon looks totally different today than it used to. Now it's always large, and now it always throws glare too. That's kind of interesting. I can also no longer feel any effect from a full moon. Well, maybe your black magic's not working anymore. I can see the moon so clearly now. It's always so large. Wasn't like that before. I agree. Maybe I'll just end with this. The Bible says there will be signs in the moon. Just because the moon is a weird one. One thing that a lot of people have noticed, that the moon goes MIA. I think a lot of people have just noticed, I don't know if I skipped through any of the comments, but within the last 10 years, a lot of people have noticed, like, man, it's been 6 weeks and I haven't seen the moon. I saw a few comments like that. A lot of people just say these days the moon is just totally MIA sometimes these days. And I'll say that just one-off experience that I had one time, just the rotation of the moon seemed really off to me. It was like the darkened part of the moon was pointing straight down, and the crescent part of the moon was pointing straight up, but it was like at a weird part in the sky. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but I've seen a few weird things dealing with the moon phases, and I think it's just all signs that we're at the end. It's not like it used to be, and everything's brighter and closer, and time is moving out of control. Well, hope you enjoyed the video. God bless everyone.